Hi everyone, this is Damsel Bitache, and in this video, I will showing to you the teaching learning material or TLM that I made about figurative language. Are you ready? Alright, let's start. TLM in a box. This is actually an NCO box made by Carton, and inside in this box, we have here a lot of teaching materials that we will tackle about figurative language. And I use also a carton DVD case in making these teaching materials because we have a bunch of carton DVD case in our house, so I use it. In our first teaching learning materials, so we have here our first teaching learning materials. We have a definition of figurative language. So this is our topic rather, the figurative language. So this is the definition. So we should always remember that in figurative language, it needs to be carefully analyzed to discover its meaning. It uses an ordinary sentence to refer to something without directly stating it. But did you know that even a writer uses a figurative language? Yes, they use figurative language to be able to engage their audience to more creative and provokes thinking and something humor. It makes a writer more creative, interesting, dramatic than the literal language that used to refer to statement of fact. So this is our second teaching materials. So this is made by Cartons and Cartolina, and we have here inside in this carton, we have the types of figurative language, which is the metaphor, simile, personification, hyperbole, and the last one, idiom. So we should remember the five types of figurative language. Okay? So this is the types of figurative language together with its functions already provided. So first we have a simile. So I know that some of you are already familiar with this kind of figurative language because it is a common type of figurative language that compares unlike things and use the words like or as. And they are also commonly used in everyday communication. A simile is also used with the aim of sparking an interesting connection in the reader's mind. And next, we have a metaphor. So, a metaphor is a statement that compares two things that are not alike. So, unlike the simile, metaphor do not use the words like or us. So, such statements only make sense when the reader understands the connection between the two things being compared. So metaphor only compares two things using the words um, is or are. It does not use like or as. So next we have here the personification. So when we say personification, it is the attribution of human characteristic to non-living objects. So using personification affects the way readers imagine things and it sparks on interest in the subject. So the hint there is that personification giving human traits to non-humans or non-living things. The next we have here the hyperbole. So the hyperbole, it is an exaggeration that is created to emphasize a point of bring out a sense of humor. It is often used in everyday communications without the speaker noticing it. So the exaggeration is the outrageous that no one could believe that it is true. It is used to add a deep and color to a statement. Then next we have the idiom. So the idiom, it is a type of figurative language that is a phrase that people say. So it is also a common types of figurative language that is commonly accepted as having a different a meaning that the individual words may lead you to believe. So this is idiom, a common expression that is not meant to be taken exactly as it is said. So this is the 5 types of figurative language together with its functions. So the last in our last teaching learning materials, it is written here that we should need to write down one example of each metaphor, simile, personification, hyperbole, and idiom. So let's find out the some examples of this kind of figurative language. So this is our 4 teaching learning materials. We have here the examples of figurative language. So this is the example of figurative language. Here we have the hyperbole. We have here the metaphor, simile, personification, hyperbole, and idiom. So the inside in this teaching materials, we have here the examples of figurative language. So let's find out the examples each figurative language. So first, we have here the metaphor. So this is the example of metaphor. So this is the example of metaphor. So example of metaphor is Ali is a walking dictionary. Time is money. So from this example, we know that Ali isn't a dictionary. However, because I'm comparing Ali to the dictionary, it suggests that he has a largeable vocabulary, or a meaning of a lot of words. Then another example of metaphor we have here, time is money. So again, in this example, of course, we know that the time isn't literally a money. It describes how valuable time is. As I'm comparing to get the money, which of course we know that it is very valuable. Next example, we have simile. This is the example of simile using us and like. So example, he was as quiet as a mouse. She swam like a fish. So in the first example, I'm comparing how quiet he was with how quiet a mouse is. That would emphasizing that he was very, very quiet. So that's belong to simile. So another example of simile, we have she swam like a fish. So in this example, I'm describing how good she was at swimming. So this is the example of simile. Another, we have personification. So next we have personification. So this is the example of personification. The stars winked at the people below. So as what we have seen, we're giving human characteristic to otherwise in any object. So like this, we use human characteristic. We're reading it as if the stars can wink at the people. So we're giving human characteristic here, which belongs to personification. Next, we have the hyperbole. This is the example of hyperbole. I'm hungry as I could eat a horse. So this is the example of hyperbole, that actually no one is going to eat a horse when they are hungry. But this type of figurative language just explain on how hungry they really are. So this is the example of hyperbole. Last, we have the idiom. So this is the example of idiom. So, example, it's raining cats and dogs. So, the words in the sentence is not much the meaning of this sentence. If you are just look at the words, it's raining cats and dogs. That means in the reader that it's really raining cats and dogs. Okay? So, we should be careful with idiom. Don't focus on the words. So what is this really means? So it simply means that it's raining a lot or there's a lot of rain. So that's the example of idiom. This is our fifth teaching learning material. We have here a poem. So inside in this box, so here there is a poem provided. So in this poem, it has a lot examples of personification that will help your listener to easily notice and understand each types of figurative language and also enhance their knowledge about it. So here we have a poem entitled Midnight Snack by Karina Cartier. So here, I was a hungry lion. When I woke up late one night, my stomach started growing, and so I flipped on the light. The stairs all groaned beneath me as I crept quiet as a mouse. My belly was rumbling thunder as I wandered through my house. I saw my brother's cupcake, and it called to me my name. I know I shouldn't take a bite, but I tasted it all the same. Sly as a fox, I turned around. My brother asked me what I'd done. I felt a frog stuck in my throat, and the cat had got in my tongue. Then I thought he'd blown his top as I whipped frosting off my cheek. But he smiled sweet as a pie and said, "You'll be doing my curse all week." So this is the example of a poem that has a figurative language. We have here, I was a hungry lion. So this is recognized as a metaphor, because metaphor means a comparison that does not use like or as. It compares two things using the word is or are. So this is considered a metaphor. We have here, my tummy started growing. So it belongs to the personification because it gives human traits to non-humans or non-living things. Another one, we have stairs all groaned beneath me. So this is also an example of personification that also giving human traits to non-humans or non-living things. Next, we have white as a mouse. So it is very simple to recognize that it is belong to simile because the sentence using us. So we have here simile compares two things using the words as or like. Then next we have my belly was rumbling thunder. So this is belong to the metaphor because it does not use like or as. It compares two things using the words is or are. Then another we have it could be me, my name. So it belongs again to the personification because it gives human traits to non-humans or non-living things. Here we have another example of a simile, sly as a fox. Then example of idiom, frog stuck in my throat. The cat had gotten my tongue. Blow his top. So it belongs to the idiom because the expression is not meant to be taken exactly as it is said. And the last one, we have here the example of simile, but he smiles sweet as a pie. So we could recognize here that the sentence using us, which belong to the simile. So our sixth teaching learning material, we have here figurative language in a song. So we have here 5 types of songs that consist of figurative language. So we should pick one only. So example, the color pink. So this is example of personification, the lines in the songs. Example is, it's the house telling you to close your eyes. You get my heartbreak running away. Lights will guide you home. Then we have also here another types of figurative language in a song. These songs ay magkakaroon ng new knowledge ang mga students, especially sa songs. Maraming ma-recognize na figurative language ang students dahil alam naman natin na sila ay familiar na with kinds of figurative language. So, song is one of the best activities na madaling matutunan ng mga estudyante para makatch up yung mga types of figurative language. So, that's why I made a figurative language in a song. That is the best thing to teach students. Our last teaching learning materials, number 7, we have here a storybook. So I use this storybook in teaching figurative language because it is also helpful. Gaya ng ipapabasa mo yung mga students mo sa storybooks and ipa-identify mo sa kanila kung ano yung mga figurative language na nandito sa mga nabasa nila. So, books, songs, and poems are the best activities or examples na i-provide mo sa inyong students para ma-enhance yung knowledge nila about figurative language and in order also to dig the true knowledge of the certain topics. So, this is the thing that I provided in order to have a lot of knowledge about figurative language. So, this is my overall instructional materials about figurative language. So, as what you could observe, I have a lot of examples and types of figurative language in order to dig the bottom of true knowledge on my students. So, this is my overall instructional materials. Thank you for watching and God bless us all.